It was just another sunny afternoon in the small town of Maplewood, or so everyone thought. The sky was bright blue, with big, fluffy white clouds floating like cotton candy. Birds chirped in the trees, and a soft wind blew through the streets, making the leaves dance. Kids rode their bikes, laughing and shouting, while grown ups sat on their porches, sipping lemonade. Everything seemed normal. Perfect, even. But for 9-year-old Lily Parker, today was going to be anything but normal. Oh no, today was going to be wild. Crazy. Unforgettable. And no one in Maplewood had any idea what was coming. Now, let's talk about Lily. Lily Parker was the kind of girl most people didn't notice. She was small, so small, she could hide behind a skinny tree and you'd never see her. She was quiet, too. Super quiet. She didn't talk much, not even at school. When the teacher called on her, she'd just nod or whisper one word, like yes or no. Most kids in her class didn't even know her name. They'd say, "Oh, you mean that shy girl? The one who never talks? And the grown ups in town?" Well, they didn't pay much attention to her either. To them, she was just that shy kid. The one who walked by with her head down, her hands stuffed in her pockets, not bothering anyone. Lily looked pretty ordinary, too. Her hair was brown and messy, like she'd just rolled out of bed and forgot to brush it. It fell over her face, covering her big, curious eyes. Those eyes were special, though. They were bright and shiny, like two little stars, always watching, always thinking. But nobody noticed them because her hair was always in the way. And her clothes? Well, she wore the same thing every single day, a faded blue jacket that was a little too big for her. The sleeves hung over her hands, and the bottom of the jacket reached her knees. Some kids at school made fun of it. "Why do you wear that old thing?" they'd ask, laughing. Lily never answered. She'd just look down at the ground and walk away. But here's the thing, Lily wasn't ordinary. Not at all. Behind her quiet smile, behind her messy hair and old jacket, there was a secret. A big secret. A secret so huge, it could turn the whole town of Maplewood upside down. Nobody knew it. Not the kids at school. Not the grown ups sipping lemonade. Not even the noisy birds in the trees. Nobody. And Lily? She was really, really good at keeping secrets. She didn't tell anyone, not even her best friend if she had one, that is. But we'll get to that secret soon. Oh yes, we will. For now, all you need to know is that Lily wasn't as helpless as she looked. Not even close. Let's take a little trip to where Lily lived. Her house wasn't big or fancy like some of the houses in Maplewood. It was tiny, sitting all by itself on the edge of town, where the road turned into dirt and the grass grew tall. The paint on the walls was peeling, and the roof had a few holes, but Lily didn't mind. To her, it was home. The best part of her house wasn't the house at all, it was the backyard. Oh, that backyard was special. It was huge, bigger than a playground, with tall trees and thick bushes all around. It was like a secret jungle, hidden from the world. Nobody could see into it, not even if they tried. And in that backyard? Well, that's where Lily's secret lived. But wait, we're not ready to talk about the secret yet. Nope, not yet. We need to build up to it, step by step, so you stay curious. So you keep wondering, what's in the backyard? What's Lily hiding? Trust me, it's worth the wait. For now, let's just say that Lily spent a lot of time back there. Every day after school, she'd run straight to the backyard, her faded blue jacket flapping behind her. She'd disappear into the bushes, and nobody knew what she was doing. The neighbors sometimes peeked over the fence, but all they saw was trees and shadows. "That girl is strange," they'd whisper to each other. "Always hiding back there. What's she up to?" But Lily didn't care what they thought. She had work to do. Important work. Secret work. Now, let's go back to that sunny afternoon in Maplewood. Lily was walking home from school, her backpack bouncing on her shoulders. The backpack was old, just like her jacket, with a big rip on one side. Her sneakers were old, too, with holes in the toes, but Lily didn't mind. She liked walking home, even though it was a long way. It gave her time to think. Time to plan. Time to watch the world around her with those big, curious eyes. As she walked, She passed the ice cream shop, where kids were laughing and licking their cones. She passed the park, where dogs chased balls and moms pushed strollers. And then, she turned onto Maple Street. That's where things got tricky. Maple Street wasn't like the other streets in town. It was quiet, but not in a nice way. It was quiet in a scary way, like the kind of quiet you hear right before something bad happens. At the end of Maple Street was an old gas station, with rusty pumps and broken windows. And outside that gas station? Well, that's where the trouble lived. A gang of bikers hung out there every day, their shiny motorcycles parked in a row. They were loud, they were mean, and they loved to scare anyone who got too close. Lily had to walk past them to get home. Every single day. And every single day, they made her wish she could disappear. But Lily didn't disappear. She kept walking, her head down, her hands in her pockets. She didn't look at the bikers, but she could feel their eyes on her. She could hear their laughs, loud and mean, like barking dogs. "Hey, little mouse," one of them would yell. "Where you going, mouse?" another would shout. Lily didn't answer. She just kept walking, faster and faster, until she was out of sight. But deep down, she wasn't scared. Not really. Because Lily had a plan. A big plan. A plan that would teach those bikers a lesson they'd never forget. And it all started with her secret, the one hiding in her backyard. So, what was Lily's secret? Was it a treasure chest full of gold? Was it a magic wand? Was it a rocket ship? Nope, it was even better than that. But we're not telling you yet. Oh no, you'll have to keep reading to find out. All you need to know for now is that Lily wasn't as helpless as she looked. Not even close. And soon, very, very soon, everyone in Maplewood was going to find out the truth. Every day after school, Lily had to walk past the old gas station on Maple Street. And every day, the same thing happened. It wasn't fun. It wasn't nice. It was scary. Really scary. Maple Street wasn't like the other streets in Maplewood, where kids played and dogs barked happily. No, Maple Street was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that made your tummy feel tight, like something bad was waiting around the corner. And at the end of Maple Street, there it was, the old gas station. It wasn't a normal gas station, not anymore. The pumps were rusty, the windows were cracked, and the sign was so faded you could barely read it. Nobody bought gas there. Nobody even went near it. Nobody except the bikers. The bikers were a gang, a big group of tough guys who thought they owned Maple Street. They called themselves the Iron Wolves. That name sounded mean, didn't it? Like a pack of wild animals, ready to chase you down. And that's exactly how they acted. Every afternoon, they were there, sitting outside the gas station, laughing and shouting. Their shiny motorcycles were parked in a neat row, all black and silver, with big engines that roared like monsters. The bikers loved those motorcycles. They'd polish them with rags, making them sparkle in the sun, and then they'd rev the engines, making loud vroom vroom noises that echoed all over town. It was their way of saying, "Look at us. We're big. We're tough. We're scary." The leader of the Iron Wolves was the scariest of all. His name was Spike. Spike was huge, bigger than any grown-up Lily had ever seen. He was so tall, he looked like a giant, and his arms were thick, like tree trunks. His hair was long and greasy, tied back in a ponytail, and he had a scruffy beard that made him look meaner. He always wore a black leather jacket, covered in patches with pictures of wolves and skulls. The patches made him look tough, like he'd been in 100 fights and won them all. And his boots? Oh, those boots were loud. Every time he stepped towards someone, they made a big thump 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 on the ground, like a drum beating. Spike loved to scare people. He loved to make them jump. And most of all, he loved to make them run away. But there was one person who didn't run away. One small, quiet person who walked past the gas station every single day, no matter how loud the bikers were, no matter how mean they acted. That person was Lily. It always started the same way. Lily would turn the corner onto Maple Street, her backpack bouncing on her shoulders, her faded blue jacket flapping behind her. She'd see the gas station up ahead, with the motorcycles parked out front and the bikers leaning against them, laughing and talking. Her heart would start to beat faster, like a little drum in her chest, thump thump thump. But she didn't stop. She didn't turn around. She just kept walking, her head down, her hands stuffed deep in her pockets. That's when Spike would spot her. His eyes would light up, like a cat seeing a mouse. "Ah, look, it's the little mouse again," he'd yell, his voice loud and mean. The other bikers would turn to look, and then they'd laugh big, booming laughs that made Lily's tummy twist into knots. Spike would step forward, his boots going thump 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 on the ground, and he'd lean down so his face was close to hers. Really close. So close, Lily could smell the gum he was chewing and see the dirt on his cheeks. "What's the matter, mouse?" he'd tease, grinning so wide you could see his yellow teeth. "Too scared to talk? Too scared to run? Huh." The other bikers would laugh even harder, slapping their knees and pointing at Lily. Then they'd rev their engines vroom vroom vroom, making the motorcycles roar so loud, it felt like the ground was shaking. The noise was so big, it made Lily jump, just a little, even though she tried not to. Her backpack would bounce, her hair would fall over her face, and her heart would pound even faster thump thump thump. But Lily never said a word. Not one word. She just kept her head down, her eyes on the ground, and walked faster. Faster and faster, until the gas station was behind her and the bikers' laughs were just echoes in the distance. Day after day, it was the same. Spike would call her mouse. The bikers would laugh. The engines would roar. And Lily would walk away, quiet as a shadow. The bikers thought they were so smart. They thought they were so tough. They thought Lily was weak, just a little girl who was too scared to fight back. They thought she was scared of their motorcycles, scared of their loud voices, scared of Spike's big boots and mean laugh. They thought she was nothing. But here's the thing they didn't know. Here's the big, huge, giant thing they didn't understand: Lily wasn't scared. Not really. Oh sure, her heart beat fast, and her tummy felt tight, but deep down, she wasn't afraid of them. Not at all. Because every time they laughed, Lily was watching. Every time they shouted, Lily was listening. Every time Spike called her mouse, she was remembering. And deep down, way deep down inside her, she was making a plan. A smart plan. A sneaky plan. A plan that would teach those bikers a lesson they'd never forget. Lily wasn't weak. Lily wasn't scared. Lily was strong, stronger than anyone knew. And the bikers? They were the ones who should be scared. Because soon, very, very soon, Lily was going to show them just how strong she really was. But how? What was her plan? What was she going to do to stop the Iron Wolves? Well, that's the fun part, isn't it? That's the part you have to wait for. That's the part that's going to make you say, wow, and no way, and I can't believe it. But don't worry, we'll get there. Step by step, we'll get there. For now, just remember, Lily wasn't as weak as she looked. Not even close. Days turned into weeks, and the bikers got meaner. A lot meaner. Every afternoon, when Lily walked past the old gas station on Maple Street, the Iron Wolves were there, waiting for her. It was like a game to them, a mean, nasty game. They'd see her coming, with her faded blue jacket and her messy hair, and they'd start laughing before she even got close. Spike, the big, scary leader, would always be the first to shout. "Here comes the mouse," he'd yell, his voice loud and rough, like a barking dog. The other bikers would cheer and clap, like they were at a show. But it wasn't a fun show. Not for Lily. For her, it was trouble. Big trouble. The bikers didn't just tease her anymore. Oh no, they started doing worse things. Much worse. One afternoon, it got really bad. Lily was walking home, her backpack heavy on her shoulders. It was full of books, big, heavy school books with bright covers. She loved those books, even if they were heavy. They had stories and pictures and math problems that made her brain feel smart. But that day, Spike decided to ruin them. As Lily walked by, he jumped up from his motorcycle, his boots going thump 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 on the ground. "Hey, mouse," he shouted, grinning his mean grin. "What's in that bag?" "More mouse food." Before Lily could walk away, Spike ran up to her, fast as a snake. He grabbed her backpack right off her shoulders, yanking it so hard that Lily almost fell over. "Let's see," he said, holding the backpack up high, where Lily couldn't reach it. The other bikers laughed and cheered, clapping their hands. "Open it, Spike," one of them yelled. "Dump it out," another shouted. Spike looked at Lily, his eyes mean and shiny, like a cat playing with a toy. "Oops," he said, pretending it was an accident. Then, with a big swing of his arm, he threw the backpack into a muddy puddle by the side of the road. Splash! The bag landed right in the middle of the dirty water, making a big, wet mess. The bikers burst out laughing, slapping their knees and pointing at the puddle. "Look at that," one of them shouted. "Mouse food for the mud." Another biker revved his engine vroom vroom vroom, making the noise echo down the street. Lily just stood there, staring at her backpack. The muddy water was soaking into the bag, turning the bright covers of her books dark and soggy. Her math book, her story book, her notebook with her drawings, they were all getting ruined. The bikers thought it was so funny. They thought Lily would cry or run away. They thought she was weak, like always. But if you looked closely, really closely, you'd see something in Lily's eyes. It wasn't tears. It wasn't fear. It was fire. Bright, hot fire, burning deep inside her. Her hands curled into fists, so tight her knuckles turned white. Her lips pressed together, like she was holding back a big, loud yell. Lily didn't cry. Lily didn't run. Lily just stared at Spike, her big, curious eyes locked on his mean, laughing face. And inside her head, she was thinking. Thinking hard. Thinking smart. Thinking, "You'll be sorry. Oh yes, you'll be sorry." That night, Lily didn't go straight into her house like she usually did. No, she went to the backyard. The big, secret backyard behind her tiny house, where the trees were tall and the bushes were thick. It was dark out there, with only the moon shining through the leaves, making little spots of light on the grass. Lily sat down on the ground, right in the middle of the backyard, and she started whispering. Whispering to someone or something in the shadows. "They think I'm nothing," she said softly, her voice quiet but strong. "They think I'm weak. They think I'm scared. But we'll show them, won't we?" And then, from the darkness, there was a sound. A low, deep growl, like a rumble of thunder far away. Two glowing eyes stared back at her, shining like tiny flashlights in the night. Those eyes belonged to Titan, Lily's best friend and her biggest secret. Titan wasn't just any dog. Oh no, he was special. Really special. Titan was a military dog, trained by Lily's dad before he left for the army. Titan was huge, bigger than any dog in Maplewood. His fur was black, so black he blended into the shadows, and his muscles were strong, rippling under his skin like waves on a lake. Titan could run faster than a car, jump higher than a fence, and most importantly, he listened to Lily's every command. Every single one. Lily had been training with Titan every day, ever since her dad left. They worked together in the backyard, where nobody could see. Lily taught Titan special signals, like tricks, but way cooler. If she blew a whistle, it meant come. Titan would run to her, fast as lightning, no matter where he was. If she snapped her fingers, it meant hide. Titan would disappear into the bushes, so quiet you'd never know he was there. And if she waved her hand in a certain way, a special, secret way, it meant protect. That was the most important signal of all. When Lily gave that signal, Titan would do anything to keep her safe. Anything. Lily looked at Titan now, his glowing eyes staring back at her, his big ears perked up, listening. "They threw my books in the mud," she whispered, her voice shaking just a little. "They laughed at me. They think I'm nothing. But you and me, Titan, we're not nothing. We're strong. And soon, they'll find out just how strong we are." Titan let out another growl, low and rumbly, like he was saying, "Yes, Lily. We'll show them." Lily smiled, a small, sneaky smile. She knew the bikers were getting worse. She knew they wouldn't stop. And she had a feeling, a big, strong feeling, that she'd need Titan's help soon. Very, very soon. Every night after that, Lily and Titan worked harder. They practiced their signals in the dark, under the moon. Lily would blow the whistle, and Titan would run to her, his big paws thumping on the grass. She'd snap her fingers, and Titan would hide, his black fur melting into the shadows. And she'd wave her hand, the special way, and Titan would stand tall, his teeth showing, ready to protect. Lily knew the day was coming. The day when the bikers would go too far. The day when she'd have to use Titan for real. And when that day came, the Iron Wolves wouldn't be laughing anymore. Oh no, they'd be running. The next day, things went too far. Way too far. It wasn't just teasing anymore. It wasn't just laughing or throwing backpacks in the mud. No, this time, the bikers were meaner than ever. Scarier than ever. And Lily? Well, she was ready. Oh yes, she was ready. It started like any other afternoon. Lily was walking home from school, her faded blue jacket flapping in the wind, her messy hair falling over her face. Her backpack was still a little damp from the muddy puddle the day before, but she didn't care. She was thinking. Thinking hard. Thinking about her plan. Thinking about Titan. As she turned the corner onto Maple Street, she saw them, the Iron Wolves. The bikers were there, as always, outside the old gas station. Their shiny motorcycles were parked in a row, sparkling in the sun. The bikers were laughing, shouting, and revving their engines, making big, loud vroom vroom noises that echoed down the street. Spike, the big, scary leader, was in the middle, cracking his knuckles and grinning his mean grin. But today was different. Today, the bikers didn't just yell or laugh. Today, they decided to do something worse. Much worse. As Lily walked closer, trying to keep her head down like always, Spike shouted, "Hey, Mouse. Where do you think you're going?" His voice was loud and rough, like a barking dog. Lily didn't answer. She just kept walking, her heart beating fast, thump 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 like a little drum in her chest. But then, Spike did something new. Something bad. He stepped right in front of her, blocking her path. His big boots went thump thump on the ground, and he stood there, tall as a giant, looking down at her with his mean, shiny eyes. "Not so fast, Mouse," Spike said, grinning like a wolf about to pounce on a rabbit. "Time to have some real fun." He cracked his knuckles again, making a loud pop-pop sound that made Lily's tummy twist into knots. The other bikers cheered, clapping their hands and shouting, "Yeah, Spike. Show her who's boss." Then, one by one, the bikers moved. They stepped away from their motorcycles and started circling around Lily, like a pack of wolves closing in on their dinner. Their boots thumped on the ground, their leather jackets squeaked, and their engines roared as they revved them up, vroom vroom vroom, making the noise so loud, it felt like the whole street was shaking. Lily's heart raced faster, thump thump thump, like it was trying to jump out of her chest. She looked around, her big, curious eyes wide. The bikers were all around her now, blocking every way out. There was no place to run. No place to hide. Spike leaned down, his face close to hers, so close she could smell the gum he was chewing. "What's the matter, Mouse?" he teased, his voice mean and low. "Too scared to talk? Too scared to fight? Huh." The bikers laughed, their laughs loud and mean, echoing down Maple Street like thunder. But Lily didn't run. Lily didn't cry. Lily didn't even shake. Instead, she stood there, small and quiet, with her hands in her pockets. And if you looked closely, really, really closely, you'd see something in her eyes. It wasn't fear. It was fire. Bright, hot fire, burning deep inside her. She wasn't scared of Spike. She wasn't scared of the bikers. She was ready. Oh yes, she was ready. Slowly, very slowly, Lily reached into her pocket. The bikers didn't notice at first. They were too busy laughing and cheering. But then, Lily pulled something out. Something small. Something shiny. It was a whistle. A tiny, silver whistle, no bigger than a pencil. Spike saw it, and his grin got even bigger. "What's that, your little toy?" he sneered, his voice full of tease. The other bikers laughed harder, slapping their knees and pointing at Lily. "Oh, look," one of them shouted. "The mouse has a toy whistle. What are you gonna do, Mouse? Play us a song." Another biker revved his engine, vroom vroom, making the noise so loud, it almost drowned out their laughs. Lily didn't answer. She didn't say a word. She just stood there, small and quiet, with the whistle in her hand. Then, she raised it to her lips. The bikers laughed even harder, thinking it was a big joke. But Lily wasn't joking. Oh no, she was serious. Very serious. She took a deep breath, and then she blew the whistle. A sharp, clear sound cut through the noise tweet. It was loud, louder than you'd think a tiny whistle could be. It echoed down Maple Street, bouncing off the trees and the rusty gas pumps, sharp and strong. For a moment, nothing happened. The bikers kept laughing, their laughs loud and mean. "Oh, scary whistle," Spike teased, pretending to shake with fear. "What's that supposed to do, Mouse? Call your mommy." The other bikers cheered, revving their engines even louder, vroom vroom vroom. But then, something changed. Something big. The ground started to shake. Just a little at first, like a tiny wiggle under their feet. Then, it got stronger. And stronger. Like a big, heavy truck was coming down the road. But there was no truck. Oh no, it was something else. Something much scarier. A low growl rumbled from the bushes nearby, growing louder and louder until it sounded like thunder. Grrrrrrrrr. It was deep and strong, like a storm rolling in. The bikers stopped laughing. Their grins froze on their faces. Spike's eyes got wide, and he stepped back, his boots going thump-thump on the ground. What was that?" one of the bikers whispered, his voice shaking. The engine stopped roaring. The street got quiet. Too quiet. And then, out of nowhere, Titan burst onto the scene. Titan was enormous. Huge. Bigger than any dog they'd ever seen. His fur was black, so black it looked like a shadow come to life. His muscles were strong, rippling under his skin like waves on a lake. His teeth were sharp, shining white in the sun, and his eyes were locked on Spike, glowing like tiny flashlights. He looked like a monster from a nightmare, a giant beast ready to pounce. But to Lily, he was her hero. Her best friend. Her secret weapon. The bikers froze. They didn't laugh. They didn't cheer. They didn't even move. Spike's face turned pale, like all the color had drained out of it. What is that thing?" he stammered, stepping back again, his boots tripping over the ground. Lily didn't answer. Not yet. Instead, she held up one hand, calm and steady, and said, "Down, Titan." Her voice was quiet but strong, like she wasn't scared at all. Titan sat instantly, his big body still as a statue, but his growl never stopped. Grrrrrrrr. It rumbled deep in his chest, low and scary, making the bikers shake in their boots. Lily stepped forward, her big, curious eyes locked on Spike. "This is Titan," she said, her voice steady and strong, like a grown-up's voice. "And he doesn't like bullies. Neither do I." She waved her hand in a special signal, the secret signal she'd practiced so many times in the backyard. Titan stood up, slow and steady, taking one big step toward the bikers. His teeth showed even more sharp and shiny, and his growl got louder. Grrrrrrr. The bikers stepped back, their eyes wide, their hands shaking. Spike's grin was gone. His mean laugh was gone. All that was left was fear. "You've got two choices," Lily said, her voice clear and strong, echoing down Maple Street. "Leave me alone, or deal with him." She pointed at Titan, and Titan growled again, louder this time, like he was saying, "Pick the first one, or else." The bikers didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to say. They just stood there, frozen, staring at the giant dog and the small, quiet girl who wasn't so quiet anymore. Spike stood there, his big boots planted in the dirt, trying to act tough. But he didn't look tough anymore. Oh no, he looked scared. Really, really scared. His face was pale, like all the color had washed away, and his mean grin was gone, replaced by wide eyes and a shaky mouth. He looked at Titan, the giant black dog with sharp teeth and glowing eyes, and he tried to laugh. "Why you think a dog scares us?" he said, his voice high and wobbly, like a little squeak instead of a big, mean growl. The other bikers, the Iron Wolves, were already backing away, their boots shuffling on the ground, their eyes wide with fear. They didn't look tough either. They looked like they wanted to run. Fast. Lily didn't blink. She didn't move. She just stood there, small and quiet, with her faded blue jacket and her messy hair, but oh, she was strong. Stronger than anyone knew. She looked at Spike, her big, curious eyes locked on his scared face, and she didn't say a word. She didn't need to. Instead, she raised her hand, slow and steady, and snapped her fingers. Snap! The sound was sharp, like a tiny crack of thunder, cutting through the quiet street. And then, Titan moved. Oh boy, did he move. Titan lunged forward, fast as lightning, his big paws thumping on the ground, his black fur shining in the sun. His teeth were bared, sharp and white, and his growl was loud grrrrrr, like a storm rolling in. He stopped just inches from Spike, so close that Spike could feel Titan's hot breath on his face. Spike's eyes got even wider, and his mouth opened, but no sound came out. He tried to step back, but his big boots tripped over each other, and splash, he fell backward, landing right in the muddy puddle where he'd thrown Lily's backpack the day before. The mud splashed all over him, covering his shiny leather jacket and his mean face with wet, brown dirt. The other bikers gasped, their hands covering their mouths, their feet shuffling back even more. Spike, one of them shouted, but he didn't move to help. Oh no, he was too scared. They all were. Spike scrambled in the mud, his hands slipping, his boots sliding, trying to get up. Fine. Fine, he yelled, his voice high and shaky, like a scared little kid. We'll leave you alone. Just call off that thing. He pointed at Titan, his finger shaking, his muddy face full of fear. Lily didn't smile. Not yet. She just stood there, calm and steady, and raised her hand again. Down, Titan, she said, her voice quiet but strong, like a grown-up's voice. Titan sat instantly, his big body still as a statue, but his growl never stopped grrrrrr, rumbling deep in his chest, warning the bikers not to try anything funny. Lily looked at Spike, still sitting in the mud, and said, "You'd better mean it. Because Titan doesn't like bullies. And neither do I." Spike nodded fast, his head bobbing up and down like a toy. "We mean it. We mean it," he said, his voice all squeaky and scared. He scrambled to his feet, slipping in the mud again, and ran to his motorcycle. The other bikers didn't wait. They jumped on their motorcycles, too, their hands shaking as they turned the keys. The engines roared to life, vroom vroom vroom, but this time, the noise wasn't scary. This time, it sounded like they were running away. And that's exactly what they were doing. They sped off down Maple Street, their shiny motorcycles kicking up dust, their engines roaring in the distance, getting quieter and quieter until they were gone. Lily watched them go, her big, curious eyes following the dust cloud they left behind. Then, slowly, a small smile grew on her face. A sneaky, happy smile. She turned to Titan, who was still sitting there, his tail wagging just a little, his big ears perked up. "Good boy, Titan," she said, scratching his ears with both hands. Titan's growl turned into a happy ruff. And he wagged his tail harder, thumping it on the ground like a drum. He looked proud, like he knew he'd done a good job. And he had. Oh yes, he had. From that day on, the Iron Wolves never bothered Lily again. Not once. In fact, they avoided Maple Street altogether. If they had to go somewhere, they'd take the long way around, riding down Oak Street or Pine Road, even if it took twice as long. They didn't want to see Lily. And they definitely didn't want to see Titan. The old gas station, where they used to hang out every day, became quiet. Too quiet. The rusty pumps and broken windows were still there, but the shiny motorcycles were gone. The loud laughs and roaring engines were gone. It was peaceful. Finally, peaceful. Word spread around Maplewood like wildfire. At first, it was just whispers. "Did you hear about the little girl on Maple Street?" people would say, their voices low and excited. "She has a giant dog," others would whisper back. The bikers ran away. Soon, everyone in town was talking about it. The kids at school, who used to ignore Lily or tease her about her faded blue jacket, now looked at her with wide eyes and big smiles. "Is it true?" they'd ask, crowding around her at lunch. "Do you really have a huge dog? Did you really scare away the Iron Wolves?" Lily didn't say much. She'd just nod, her messy hair falling over her face, and say, "Yep." That was all. But that was enough. The kids who used to ignore her now wanted to be her friend. They'd save her a seat on the bus, share their snacks at recess, and ask her to play tag. "You're so cool, Lily," they'd say, and Lily would just smile her small, sneaky smile. Even the grown UPS in Maplewood looked at Lily differently. The ones who used to see her as that shy kid now saw her as something else. Something special. When she walked by, her backpack bouncing on her shoulders, they'd tip their hats or wave from their porches. "Afternoon, Lily," they'd call, their voices kind and warm. Some of them even started leaving treats on their fences for Titan bones or biscuits wrapped in paper. "For your big friend," they'd say, winking at Lily. Lily didn't mind. She'd take the treats and save them for Titan, who wagged his tail like crazy every time she brought him something new. But Lily didn't care about the attention. Not really. She didn't care about the kids wanting to be her friend or the grown UPS tipping their hats. She didn't care about being called cool or special. All she cared about was walking home in peace. And now, she could. Every afternoon, she'd walk down Maple Street, her faded blue jacket flapping in the wind, her big, curious eyes watching the world around her. And there were no bikers. No loud laughs. No roaring engines. Just quiet. Peaceful, happy quiet. Sometimes, when she got home, she'd go straight to the backyard, where Titan was waiting, his big tail thumping on the grass. "We did it, Titan," she'd whisper, scratching his ears. "We showed them." And Titan would ruff. In agreement, his glowing eyes shining in the shadows, his strong body ready to protect her, always. Lily knew the bikers wouldn't be back. But if they ever were? Well, she wasn't scared. Not with Titan by her side. And there you have it, folks, the story of a girl who looked weak but was stronger than anyone knew. Sometimes, the quietest people have the loudest secrets. And those who judge others by how they look? Well, they're the ones who never see the truth coming. Lily showed us that being small or quiet doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're smart. It means you're strong. It means you're special. So, what do you think? Did Lily's story surprise you? Could you be as brave as Lily? Drop a comment below and tell me. And hey, if you loved this story, hit that like button and subscribe for more fun stories. Remember, never underestimate the quiet ones. See you soon.